Alright folks, good evening everyone. I think I should be live. Of course, I'll wait for feedback as always. Do tell me on chat if the AV is clear. I can see some familiar names. Very happy to see them. Just give me 1 second. Okay, let me know in chat in the meantime if you can see me and hear me all right. Okay. Okay. AV clear. Okay, great. Pranav from my team has confirmed it. Thank you very much. Sridhar, good evening. Always good to see you. I think I saw Nishant Kishore here. Was he here? All right. Okay. Nishant is a 2022 student, by the way. Okay. He's a very loyal 2IIM fan, and I'm very grateful for that. And the man is sitting in IIM Bangalore right now, by the way. Nishant, by the way, you called me. You called me. I wasn't able to pick your phone. I'm sorry. I'll call you back. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Lots of you here. Good to see. Good to see that. Ananya, Priyanshu, Abhijit, Varsha, Niharika, Rishik, Riaz, Akshay, Srivatsan, Samiksha. Okay. Abhijit has made Pranav's day. Why has Abhijit? Oh, great. Abhijit, thank you so much for the positive feedback. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad these sessions are useful. Samiksha, good evening. Nonit, hi. Okay. Great. Awesome, folks. Everyone, good evening. Let's get started. So somebody gave me feedback last time that they wanted a break from RCs and do verbal ability, and I can understand, right? I understand. As you know, as a VRC faculty, I'm not supposed to say that, but let's face it, RCs sometimes can get a little monotonous, right? If you keep doing RCs again and again and again, it can get a little monotonous. But then again, you know, as I always say, CAT doesn't care whether you find RC monotonous or philosophy monotonous or biology monotonous. It is still going to test you on that. Okay. And RCs can be a lot of fun if sort of approached in the right way. But anyway, that said, we're going to take a break from RCs today. I initially had planned a different structure, but I've changed it based on the feedback that you gave me last time. We will do CAT 22 slot 1 verbal ability today. Okay, so we'll have fun with verbal ability. We'll do the entire verbal ability of CAT 22 slot 1, which is 3 para jumbles, 3 para summary, and 2 para completion, right? Not odd one out because they replaced it with para completion. Awesome. All right. Hit the like button if you like my sessions usually. Hopefully you'll find this session useful as well. And I'll get started. Just a quick introduction. My name is Jatin. I'm the head of verbal ability and reading comprehension and student care at 2IIM. I won't get into my background because it gets repetitive, but you can check out my earlier videos to know about my background. I come from the corporate world, and I switched careers because I'm very passionate about teaching and I'm very passionate about the English language. All right, you can check out my background later. Do hit the like button. Let's get started, folks. So, good evening, everyone. So, this is one of those sessions where you don't need prep. Okay, for RCs, I always tell you to read the passages in advance and come. Here, you don't need to do that. Okay, Nishant is here. Nishant, thank you for joining. Thank you for always supporting us. Really appreciate it. Okay, I'm genuinely saying that, and I'll call you back. Okay, all right, fantastic. Let's begin. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at para jumbles first. Okay, and then we will go to other points. Now, just very quickly. Okay, although you know I can't go into delve into theory in detail here in these sessions due to the nature of these sessions, but let's look at PJs and let's understand the strategy very quickly. Okay, the strategy that I recommend. It's a 3-step strategy. Okay, I can't go into details here unfortunately, but very quickly what you should do is you should start looking at these sentences. Of course, you have to understand the sentences that they give you and identify the starter statement. Okay, so go through each of the sentences. Typically, they give you 4 sentences and they ask you to put them in the correct order so that it forms a coherent paragraph. So identify the starter statement first. Now, what are the clues of a starter statement? A starter statement tends to be general, typically. Okay, there are no rules here, it's just a guideline. They typically tend to be general because think about it. Whenever you start a paragraph, you start with a broader point and then you go into specifics, typically, right? And paragraph, understand, is a unit that comprises of one idea. Again, typically, okay, that's the rule of paragraphs. If it's a good writer, it will have one idea in a paragraph. So they start with a broader point, they go into specifics. So starter statement generally is broad in nature, and it usually does not have pronouns. Okay, So if it has pronouns, typically it's not the starter statement. Again, you can have an evil question setter who might give you a pronoun in the starter statement. That happens in rare circumstances, but typically it doesn't happen like that. So start with identifying the starter statement. Next is identify what we call links and sequences. Okay, so these 4 statements that they're given to you, links are basically, if you say it's a link, you're saying 1, 3 is a link. So what you're saying is 3 comes after 1, but it's not necessary that 3 will come immediately after 1. Okay, you're saying 1, 3 is a link. That means 3 will definitely come after 1, but I'm not sure if there will be something in between or not. But if you're saying it's a sequence, you're saying I'm 100% sure that 3 will come immediately after 1. Okay, so you have to start identifying links and sequences. Of course, identifying sequences are harder. Okay, and then finally, once you're done with these 2 steps, okay, the third step is very, very important, and I'll talk about it again when we solve the question. Please do a versus. Okay, what does that mean? In parajumbles, you'll potentially have different combinations in your head at step number 3. So let's say you think that, oh, 2, 3, 4, 1 can be the correct answer. 2, 3, 1, 4 can also be the correct answer. It can happen. Okay, so when you go to step 3, whatever combinations you have in your head, list it down in your notepad. They'll give you a notepad during CAT and do a versus. Which is better? Is 2, 3, 4, 1 better, or is 2, 3, 1, 4 better? And then do a versus, do a comparison, and then choose the right answer. If you do this diligently, your accuracy in parajumbles will go up. Okay, this is where the mistake happens. And typically, I'll tell you, this is a common pattern that we've observed. Usually, folks mess up this combination, the last 2 digits. So do a quick versus and figure it out which one is the best one. Of course, it takes additional seconds, but it boosts your accuracy. All right, so don't ignore step number 3. I'll demonstrate this again when we look at the example. Okay, so 1, very quickly, starter statement, broad statements devoid of pronouns typically. 2, identify links and sequences. 3, do a versus and confirm your answer. Follow these 3 steps and let's solve the first parajumble. Okay, I'll go into more details when we look at the question. All right, perfect, fantastic. Antriksh, oh great, wow. What is Antriksh is also from a past batch. Antriksh, thank you so much for joining. Okay, it's great to see past students. Antriksh is from 21, actually not even 22. Okay, anyway, let's look at this. Okay, this is your first question. All right, take your time. We can't do a poll here. When you figure out the combination, put in your combination in chat. All right, go for it. Okay, I just realized I was writing all over the camera. Oh, okay, sorry about that. You know what? You keep solving. I'll write down the steps here as well. My writing is horrible. Let me know if you can't understand anything. I'm happy to repeat it. Okay, I've started to get answers. Okay, take your time, folks. No rush. No rush. I want to give you as much time as possible. again, at this stage of the preparation, right, don't focus on speed, focus on accuracy. All right. And even if you get it wrong, it's fine. We're all learning. Understand why you got wrong and then learn from it. It's as simple as that. Okay, Priyanka, you've given me a 5 sentence combination. There is no fifth. All right, I think that was a typo. All right. Okay, keep solving. In the meantime, I'm going to start writing the common answers that I'm getting in chat. Okay. I'm seeing 2143. I hope I don't overlap the camera. I'll watch out for that. Okay, I should be probably looking at the stream as well. Okay, I see 2143. I see 2134. I see 2341. I see 4213. And I see 2431. Okay, these are the common combinations I'm looking at. Okay. Okay. All right. Go on. I'll give you 30 more seconds and then we'll start discussing it. 2209. Vikash, are these the last four digits of your phone number? 2209. Okay, Niharika has given the answer as well. Awesome. Should we start discussing it? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Let me know in chat again. There's a lag. It's an annoying lag on YouTube. But let me know if you need more time for the next question. Okay. All right. Let's look at this. Now, folks, you can stop chatting and focus on the screen so that you understand how I'm implementing the strategy. All right. Okay. Remember the strategy is first is starter statement. Second is links and sequences. Third is confirm, which is when we do a versus. All right. Okay, let's read the instructions. The 4 sentences labeled 1, 2, 3, 4 below, when properly sequenced, would yield a coherent paragraph. Decide on the proper sequencing of the order of the sentences and key in the sequence of the 4 numbers as your answer. Okay, now remember this is a parajumble standard format. It's a puzzle. It's actually a very interesting question type. Okay, if you're a fan of puzzles, right, it's very interesting. It's like a puzzle, right? It's more puzzle than VRC, right? So it's fun. It's a fun question to solve. Okay, and also remember this is a theta question. All right, typically this comes as a theta. Now tomorrow they might change it. Now in the previous years this used to be an MCQ. Okay, so MCQ parajumbles are actually very easy because they give you 4 combinations. You could just have to test them. I don't think CAT will go back to MCQ parajumbles. But remember now in recent years we've had theta. Theta is type in the answer. You have to type in the answer yourself. There are no choices and hence there is no negative marking typically. Okay, let's read the sentences one by one. Fish skin collagen has excellent thermostability and tensile strength, making it ideal for use as bandage that adheres to the skin and adjusts to body movements. So whenever you read a statement, understand what the statement says to a certain extent. So it's talking about fish skin collagen. Okay, has some excellent qualities. And therefore, it is ideal for use as a bandage that adheres to the skin and adjusts to body movements. Interesting. So, using fish skin collagen as a bandage due to its excellent qualities. That's what the sentence is talking about. Okay. Can this be a starter statement? So, how do we evaluate this? We look at it and say, is this a fairly broad statement? Does it have pronouns? It doesn't have pronouns. Okay. And it's a fairly broad statement. It can be a starter statement. Okay, now you may argue that it is a pronoun. It is a pronoun, but then it has a reference to fish skin collagen, right? They're using the pronoun, but they're also giving you the noun in the same sentence. So this doesn't count. Okay, this is okay. You shouldn't have a dangling pronoun. A dangling pronoun is he, and you don't know what he is. Okay, so in this case, it can be a starter statement. Let's go to number 2. Collagen, one of the main structural proteins in connective tissues, in the human body is well known for promoting skin generation. Now, what is this sentence talking about? It's talking about collagen, only collagen, right? And it's saying it's well known for promoting skin generation. Now, a theme is emerging in this paragraph, right? This paragraph seems to be talking about collagen. Now, ask yourself, which is more broad, fish skin collagen or collagen? Which is more broad, 1 or 2? Ask yourself this. You'll get the answer that 2 is broad. 2 is much more broader than 1. Right? 2 is just talking about collagen. 1 is talking about specifically about fish skin collagen. Which is a better candidate for a starter statement? 2. But we'll park it. Okay? We'll still say starter and we'll park it. Okay? Alright. Fish skin swims in here as diseases and bacteria that affect fish are different from most human pathogens. Okay? Alright? It's connected to fish skin. Alright? Fine. Let's park it. Can this be a starter statement? Think about it. Can this be a starter statement? Potentially. Right? Again, it's a generic statement. There are no pronouns. Fine. Let's put it as starter. The risk of introducing disease agents into other species through the use of pig and cow collagen proteins for wound healing has inhibited its broader applications in the medical field. Can this be a starter statement? No. It's too specific. Okay? And can you see a link or a sequence with 4? Now we've read 4 statements. Can you see a link or a sequence with 4? The risk of introducing disease agents into other species through the use of pig and cow collagen proteins for wound healing has inhibited its broader applications in the medical field. Think about it. What is swims in here? Okay, fair enough. Okay, now let's try to understand it. See, among the 3 starter statement candidates, definitely 2 is the most broader one. Because 2 talks about collagen, one of the main structural proteins in connective tissue. It's a very, very broad statement, specifically talking about collagen. Alright, so 2 is your starter statement here. Now we're going to just say 2 here. Okay, any links or sequences that you can identify? Okay, I've gotten a few answers here. 4-3. Okay, so Shivatsan is saying 4-3. 4-3 is a sequence. Priyanshu says that. 3 and 4, 4-3. A lot of you are saying 4-3. Okay, so let's look at it. See, it says the risk of introducing disease agents into other species through the use of pig and cow collagen proteins for wound healing has inhibited its broader applications in the medical field. Inhibited its broader applications. Whose broader applications? Collagen's broader applications. Collagen's broader applications have been inhibited because of this reason. And what is the solution to that? According to the paragraph, what is the solution to that? It's saying pig and cow collagen proteins is a problem. Okay, because you're introducing disease agents into other species. What is the solution for that? The solution for that is 3. 4 is the problem, 3 is the solution. Fish skin swims in here as diseases and bacteria that affect fish are different from most human pathogens. So that problem that 4 talks about is solved in 3. You get my point? So we're starting with 2. Okay. We're going to 4, which is the problem. 3 is the solution to that problem. And 1 comes after 3. And hence the answer is 2, 4, 3, 1. And why 1 comes after 3? Because 1 talks about its positive qualities. 3 introduces fish skin collagen and 1 says it has excellent qualities. Alright, so the answer is 2, 4, 3, 1. Is this clear, folks? Any questions? I'm going to wait for a while here, but I hope you heard the explanation. 2 is the most generic statement, so it's starter. Okay, 4 has a problem that 3 solves, so 4, 3 is a sequence. 4 comes after 2, so it's 2, 4, 3, and 1 elaborates on 3. So it's 2, 4, 3, 1. Is this clear? Any questions? Very quickly. It's fun, isn't it? Parajumbles? It's fun. All good, folks? Quickly tell me. I'm as an instructor, and my students know this. I need to get feedback, and you need to interact with me, which you're doing a good job on chat. But I also need to know whether it's making sense. Rahul says it's clear. What about others? How to differentiate between 2143 and 2431. Okay, so let's do a versus. Let's do a versus. Okay, Anish? 2143 and 2431. So in step number 3, let's do that. Okay, so what you're saying is you're removing 1 from the end and placing it after 2. All right. Okay. Collagen, one of the main structural proteins and connective tissues in the human body, is well known for promoting skin regeneration. Okay. Then you're saying let's go to fish skin collagen. Then you're saying we go to 4. Okay. So tell me one thing. Anish. 3 introduces fish skin collagen, right? 3 introduces that concept. And 1 gives you more details about fish skin collagen. So you have to introduce the concept first, hence you have to bring in 3 first, and then you come to details. So remember, in parajumbles, the typical flow is broad concept to details, broad concept to specific. That's the flow typically that we follow. So 3 is that broader point, and then 1 gives you more details about it. So broad to specifics, concept to details. That's the flow you have to follow. So 2431 is the sequence, and that's why it's better than 2143. All right. Okay. Rishik is saying, can you explain statement 4? 4 is talking about the risk of introducing disease agents into other species. That means basically if you use pig and cow collagen proteins, okay, which are other types of collagen apart from fish, you're introducing disease agents into other species. So that's the problem. You're affecting other species. You're affecting other species by introducing disease agents into them. So that's a problem that's restricting its use. But fish doesn't have that problem. Okay, so 3 solves that problem that 4 is talking about. Okay, all right, great. Let's move on, folks. So 2431 is the correct answer. Now remember, starter statement, links and sequences, confirm your answers. All right, okay, let's go on. And remember, natural flow of paragraphs, broad to specifics and all of that, concept to example. Okay, let's solve question 2. All right, if there are any more questions for question 1, I will come back to at the end. Okay, so you can stay back and I'm happy to talk to you. Go for this one. Okay, keep solving. I'm going to give you more time, but I'm just writing some potential answers that you're giving me, okay? All right. So Samandar has even given me the explanation, which is good. Samandar, I'll consider that. That's good. Yeah, I think these are the typical answers that I'm getting that I've already listed on the screen. Okay, I'll give you 30 more seconds, then we'll start discussing it. Okay, perfect. Let's start discussing this. Okay. Now, focus your attention on the screen, folks. It's very important for you to see how to implement that strategy so that you get better and better at it. Okay, so you can stop chatting and focus on the screen now. All right. Okay. Now, the good thing is that you're all agreeing that 3 is the starter statement, and you're absolutely right. 3 is the starter statement. Well done. All of you agreed with this. There was not a single answer that told me that 3 is not the starter statement. Very, very well done. Okay, 3 is that generic broad starter statement devoid of pronouns that qualifies to be the starter statement here. It is definitely the starter statement. Okay, all right, perfect. So this is our starter. This we've identified. Okay, now let's look at the sentences and let's try to solve it. Starter you've already identified, so I will not bother about that now. Okay, the creative element in product design has become of paramount importance as it is one of the few ways a firm or industry can sustain a competitive advantage over its rivals. Now, when you read the sentence, right, try to get some sense out of it. I know it's a random statement, right, but get some sense out of it. So it's talking about the importance of creative element in product design. Okay, it has become very important as it is a competitive advantage. That's what the sentence is saying. So it's talking about creative element in product design. All right. In fact, the creative element in the value of world industry would be larger still if we added the contribution of the creative element in other industries such as the design of tech accessories. In fact, clearly tells you that there is a preceding statement. Right? Okay, so it has to be connected with something. Now that's what we're trying to do. Now this was a starter statement. The creative industry is receiving a lot of attention today as its growth rate is faster than that of the world economy as a whole. Understand this statement. This is a starter. So it's very important to understand. Okay. The creative industry is receiving a lot of attention today. Why is it receiving a lot of attention today? As its growth rate is faster than that of the world economy as a whole. When you think of the creative industry, what do you think of typically? Anything creative, right? Anything creative. It can be paintings. It can be copywriting in advertising. It can be art. It can be craft. It can be sculpture. It can be anything. It's a very, very generic statement. It can be design, right? So based on this statement, it can be anything. Now it says creative industry is receiving a lot of attention today as its growth rate is very fast. Okay. Do you see a connection? Do you see a statement that would come after 3? Now, if I look at your answers, okay, typically you're telling me either 1 comes after 3 or 2 comes after 3 or 4 comes after 3. Think about it. Which is a better one? Okay. In the meantime, we'll continue. It is for this reason that today's trade issues are increasingly involving intellectual property, as Western countries have an interest in protecting their revenues along with freeing trade in non-tangibles. It is for this reason. Which reason? Which reason? Where is that reason? Try to locate that reason. So now we have read 4 statements. You know 3 is the starter statement. Either you give me the statement after 3 or connect 4 with another statement. Give me the preceding statement for 4. Okay. Now, Harsh says third is the reason for 4. How can third be the reason for 4? Think about it. Creative industry is receiving a lot of attention today as its growth rate is faster. It is for this reason. Growth rate can't be the reason that today's trade issues are increasingly involving intellectual property. That's not correct. Think again. Okay. Now let's try to solve it. Okay. Let's try to figure out what comes after 3. The creative industry is receiving a lot of attention today as its growth rate is faster than that of the world economy as a whole. Now read 2 after this. In fact, the creative element and the value of industry would be larger still if we added the contribution of the creative element in other industries. Here you're talking about growth rate, isn't it? 2 is telling you, in fact, it would be larger if you also added the contribution of creative element from other industries such as design of tech accessories. Think about this, folks. It goes very well after 3. 3 talks about growth rate being faster. 2 says it can even be better if you add the contribution of other industries such as design of tech accessories. Hear me out here. And then after that, connect it with 1. It says creative element in product design. Product design has been referred here in design of tech accessories. I hope you're listening to me. 3, 2, 1 has product design, which is design of tech accessories. And 4 is the reason. It says it is for this reason. The reason has been mentioned in 1. So the answer here is 3, 2, 1, 4. One, 2 is not a link. 2, 1 is the link, Pratik. 2, 1 is the link. Okay. It has to say such as the design of tech accessories, and then it says the creative element in product design has become of paramount importance as it's one of the few ways a firm or industry can sustain competitive advantage. And that is the reason why today's trade issues are increasingly involving IP. Okay, so 3214 is your answer. Okay, it's not very straightforward, folks. By the way, this is a fairly tricky question. It's not easy by any means. It's definitely moderate to difficult, right? But in your verses, you should do. Now, if you compare 3214 in your step 3, you should have done 3214 versus 3124 or versus 3421, and then figure out the best combination. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm just going to quickly explain law queries. Interestingly, law queries is asking me about this. Okay, so let's look at this very quickly about 4. Okay, it is for this reason that today's trade issues are increasingly involving IP as Western countries have an interest in protecting their revenues. What is the reason? The reason is creative element in product design has become very important because that's how companies are winning competition. They're winning competition by introducing creative element in product design. Maybe think of Apple iPhones. Okay, maybe think of AirPods. Right? So the creative element design in product design is giving them a competitive advantage, which is the reason that today's trade issues are increasingly involving protecting intellectual property. So by patenting their product designs and stuff like that. Okay, because they have to protect their revenues. Okay, all right, perfect. Let's move on, folks. If you have any more questions, stay back. In the interest of time, I'll have to move on. Okay, so the answer is 3214. All right, solve question 3. Okay, Samaksha is saying, but sir, the PJs seem confusing the more I try to read them. Samaksha, it will need practice. Okay, PJs, first you have to understand the strategy. Then you have to do a ton of practice. Implement that strategy. Once you do about 25 questions, practice questions, you will see that you're getting more and more comfortable. 50 will make you quite comfortable. 75 to 100 can bring you to the expert range. Okay, so attempt to solve that many questions till your exam, 75 to 100. Now that can come from any sources, from your course, from your past papers, from your mocks. You can reach 75 to 100. So do a bunch of questions and you'll get more and more comfortable. Okay, hit the like button, folks. If you're enjoying this session, don't forget to like it. Solve this question, please. Do a versus, people, especially with this question. Do a versus. Don't forget step 3. Okay, it's a looks deceptively simple, but there is a trick there. Okay. All right, I'll start writing the answers that are giving me. You keep solving. Okay. All right. So I'm getting 1243, 3214, 1423, 2314, 2143. Priyanshu is giving me two answers, 2431 or 2143. Okay. 2314, 1423, 1432. Interesting. A lot of possible combinations here. 4132 as well. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Take 30 more seconds, then let's start discussing it. There is one sequence here which should be very clear. Okay, if you look at it carefully, that sequence should just like jump out. Okay, so we'll probably discuss that sequence right away. That sequence should jump out to you. Okay, let's start discussing it. I've gotten quite a few answers there. Playing PNC again. I've gotten quite a few answers there. Let's look at it. Okay. All right. Now, folks, you can stop chatting. Please focus on the screen so that you understand how to solve these questions. Okay. We have to identify a starter statement. A starter statement in this one is tricky. It's tricky. Okay, because there can be multiple combinations. Okay. Some of you are giving me that sequence. We'll see. All right. Okay. Now let's try to understand. We'll start with one. Focus on the screen, please. Some company leaders are basing their decisions on locating offices to foster innovation and growth. As their best performing inventors suffered the greatest productivity losses when their commutes grew longer. Whenever you start with a parajumble, make some sense of the statement. Don't ignore it. Understand the statement. So what is the statement saying? Some company leaders are locating their offices based on fostering innovation and growth. As their best performing inventors suffered the greatest productivity losses when their commutes grew longer. So these company leaders are trying to reduce commutes, right? Because they saw that their best performing inventors suffered productivity losses when the commutes were longer. So they are deciding their office locations based on innovation and growth. That's what the sentence is saying. Make some sense out of it. Okay? All right, let's move on. Shorter commutes support innovation by giving employees more time in the office and greater opportunities for in-person collaboration, while removing the physical strain of a long commute. Now, a theme is emerging, right? It's talking about, it's connecting commutes to innovation. It's connecting commutes to productivity, isn't it? So it's saying shorter commutes. Commutes is what? Traveling to office. Shorter commutes support innovation by giving employees more time in office and greater opportunities for in-person collaboration. If your commute is longer, you will spend time on the road unnecessarily. If your commute is shorter, you will spend more time in office. Right? Okay, let's continue. This is not always the case. Now, can this be the starter statement? It can't be. Because it's saying this is not always the case. Remote work does not automatically lead to greater creativity and productivity, as office water cooler conversations are also very important for innovation. Have we spoken about remote work till now? Have we spoken about remote work in 1 and 2? No, we haven't. So 3 is bringing up some new concept here. It has to have a precedence. That precedence is where? Let's read 4. Some see the link between long commutes and productivity as support from work from home scenarios, as many workers have grown accustomed to their commute-free arrangements during the pandemic. This is not always the case. 4-3 is the sequence that should jump out to you. 4 is saying that some see the link between long commutes and productivity. Okay, productivity goes down because of long commutes. Some see the link between that as support for remote work. So if you stay at work, there is no commute. You're killing the commute. Forget long commutes, short commutes. You're killing the commute. So they're supporting remote work. But 3 says this is not always the case. Remote work does not automatically lead to greater creativity and productivity because you don't have those in-person interactions. 4-3 is your sequence. So that is sorted. That is sorted. Okay. Now the trick comes here. Some refers to what? Tell me. I'll wait for your answer. What is some? What is some? Who is some? Company leaders. Thank you, Isaac. If some is company leaders is mentioned in 1, hence 1 should come before 4 and 2 should come before 1. Now the thing with this is, hear me out again. Hear me out. No, it's not employees. It's not employees, it's leaders. Okay, leaders are the ones deciding. Now hear me out, folks. Hear me out. Some see the link between, some is definitely company leaders. That company leaders is mentioned in 1. Hence, we're placing 1 before 4 and then 2 comes before 1. Now, 1 and 2 can be starter statements. It's possible. Both can qualify as starter statements. But how do you break the tie in this case? 1 needs to come before 4 because of this. Some company leaders, some is referring to that company leaders. So that's why we're placing 1 before 4 and hence we know that 2 is the starter statement. The answer is 2, 1, 4. Okay, now this is tricky because the mistake that can happen is in this part. 4-3 will jump out at you. 4-3 should jump out at you. Okay, and 1 also, you would know that 4-3 is not the starter. So it will come in the second half. Now either you'll come up with 2-1-4-3 or you'll come up with 1-2-4-3. Okay, so we have 2-1-4-3. We didn't see 1-2-4-3. So at step number 3, you should do a versus 1-2-4-3 versus 2-1-4-3 and then decide the best combination. If you do that diligently, your accuracy will go up. But it's tricky. It is a tricky one. So if you got either 2-1-4-3 or 1-2-4-3, still give yourself a pat on the back. You were there. Okay, it's just that you have to be really incisive and say that, oh, I see some company leaders here and some here, and that is how we block it. Okay, fantastic, great, awesome. If there are any questions, give it to me and I'll stay back and I'm happy to answer it. The answer here is 2-1-4-3. Okay, perfect. Let's move on. So para jumbles, we've done it. You've seen the strategy. Please practice. Of course, it will need a lot of practice. We'll do more sessions, right? Slot 2 and slot 3 as well. So you'll definitely get better, but start practicing based on that strategy. It is difficult. It is tricky. Okay. All right. Let's go to para summaries now. Okay. Now with para summaries, what are we going to do? Okay. Para summaries, what I would suggest is don't start solving this. Okay. I'll run a poll for this. Read the paragraph. Okay. Number 1, read the paragraph. Understand the paragraph. Okay, extract the main points. I always tell you that when you're reading an RC, you should extract the main idea after the RC. Here, this is a miniature version of an RC, it's just one paragraph. Extract the main points. Sometimes there'll be one main point, sometimes there'll be multiple main points. Extract the main points. If you want, you can write it down. Okay? Create the summary in your head before you look at the options. Options will always confuse you. That is the job of a question setter. Options will always confuse you. So you should have a shadow answer in your head ready. So read the paragraph, understand it, extract the main points, build a summary in your head, and then look at the options and choose an option that best matches the summary in your head. But the shadow answer should be ready in your head before you look at the options, otherwise you'll get confused. Okay, go for it. Yeah, Shruti, Ashna, we'll do that later. Stay back, and I'm happy to talk to you guys about that previous question. I'll run the poll now. Please answer in the poll and take your time. Hit the like button, folks, if you're enjoying the stream. We do this every Friday, typically from 8 to 9 p.m. So we've done slot 1. You can watch the previous RCs. Next week, we'll do slot 2 RCs and then VA, and slot 3 and then VA. By the way, if my internet gets disconnected, don't worry. I'll come back in 2 minutes. Sometimes it happens. My internet has been giving me issues lately. So every week I just seem to get disconnected from the stream. Then I just restart the router and come back in 2 minutes. So don't worry about it. If that happens, hopefully that will not happen. In the meantime, I'll tell my family members not to use Netflix. Anish, you can rewind and see. Just go back quickly. You'll see the answer, and then you can come back. Okay, I'll give you a minute more, just in the interest of time. Or if you need more time than that, let me know in chat. Okay, take a minute more. Please vote in the poll, folks. Choose the right answer, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, 4 in the poll. Okay, 30 more seconds. Please vote. Okay, I'm ending the poll in 10 seconds. Ending the poll now. All right, let's look at your results. Okay, the results are displayed on your screen as well. 47% of you have gone with 2. This is your first choice. Okay, 26% has gone with 4. 14% has gone with 1. 11% has gone with 3. Okay, so almost half of you agree that 2 is the correct answer. Okay, but still there are sizable 26% for 4 and other options as well. Okay, all right, let's look at this. Now the first step is, please focus on the screen. The first step is to read the paragraph, understand it, and extract the main points. Okay, don't look at the options. All right, now what does it say? It's not that modern historians of medieval Africa have been ignorant about contacts between Ethiopia and Europe. They just had the power dynamic reversed. So it's talking about modern historians of medieval Africa. Okay, and it's saying that they were not ignorant about contacts between Ethiopia and Europe. They just had the power dynamic reversed. Continue. The traditional narrative stressed Ethiopia as weak and in trouble in the face of aggression from external forces. So Ethiopia sought military assistance from their fellow Christians to the north. This is talking about the traditional narrative, the old narrative. What did it say? That Ethiopia was weak and in trouble in the face of aggression from external forces, so it sought military assistance from their fellow Christians to the north. Maybe we can assume that this to the north here means Europe, because it's talking about connection between Ethiopia and Europe. But the real story, now whenever there's a but, it's a transition word. The author will go on an opposite track. But the real story buried in plain sight in medieval diplomatic texts simply had not yet been put together by modern scholars. Recent research pushes scholars of medieval Europe to imagine a much more richly connected medieval world. At the beginning of the so-called age of exploration, there is evidence that kings of Ethiopia were sponsoring their own missions of diplomacy, faith, and commerce. Now, fairly manageable paragraph, fairly. Okay, let's try to extract the main points here. What is this paragraph talking about? Okay, see, you have to understand that there are two narratives being spoken about, isn't it? Okay, there is a traditional narrative, okay, and there is a modern narrative, isn't it? Okay, and what are we talking about? Narrative of what? Narrative of Ethiopia and Europe, or the connection between Ethiopia and Europe. The traditional narrative said that Ethiopia was weak and it needed support from Europe. Modern narrative says, okay, it says, recent research pushes scholars of medieval Europe to imagine a much more richly connected medieval world. Okay, at the beginning of the so-called age of exploration, there is evidence that kings of Ethiopia were sponsoring their own missions of diplomacy, faith, and commerce. So if the kings of Ethiopia were sponsoring their own missions, they were not weak. They were strong. Right? And why did this mistake happen? These modern historians, okay, they were not ignorant about this. It's just that they were not able to put together this story. It was buried in plain sight. What does buried in plain sight mean? That means it was evident. It was evident, but they were not able to put together. It took them a while to put it together, and when they put together the story, they understood that the traditional narrative was not correct. Ethiopia was not weak. Ethiopia was actually strong. And there was a much more richly connected medieval world. Is that making sense now? Tell me in chat. This is how you have to extract the main points. So the main point says about modern historians, okay? There is a traditional narrative and there is a modern narrative, which is quite the opposite. And historians took a while to piece together the correct narrative. It was buried in plain sight. And hence they got it wrong earlier, but later they understood that Ethiopia was actually quite strong and the medieval world was richly connected. These are the main points. Is this making sense? Yes or no? Quickly tell me. Okay, great. So this is how you have to extract the main points. All right, of course, here I'm explaining, it's taking a long time. Once you get used to it, you'll quickly be able to do it. Okay, so extract the main points in your head or write it down. Don't hesitate from writing it down. If you're seeing your accuracy fumbling or comprehension fumbling, write down these small notes, the way I've written it down. Now we have built a shadow answer. We have to choose an option that matches the shadow answer. Not matches completely, but it's similar. Okay. Now, whenever you're solving a para summary, always, this is how you're supposed to solve it. Look at the first option, break it up and identify flaws, if any. Let's see that. Medieval historical sources selectively promoted the narrative that powerful European forces were called on to protect weak African civilization such as Ethiopia, but this is far from reality. Let's break it up. Medieval historical sources selectively promoted the narrative. Is this correct? It is. It is. They did selectively promote a narrative. Okay, this is correct. Okay. Now let's look at the narrative. That powerful European forces were called on to protect weak African civilization. Is this paragraph talking about powerful European forces and weak African civilizations in general? Or is it talking about Ethiopia in specific? Is it talking about generally African civilizations or Ethiopia in specific? Is there any indication that it's talking about other civilizations in Africa as well? Or is it only talking about Ethiopia? Is there a generalization in the paragraph? Yes or no? There is no generalization. Okay, that's what you need to identify. It's specifically talking about Ethiopia. There is no generalization, but the option that you're talking about says that powerful European forces were called on to protect weak African civilizations such as Ethiopia. This is a generalization. The paragraph is talking about a specific. This is a flaw. The moment you identify a flaw in an option, flaw is simply saying it's not aligned with the paragraph. Okay, you ignore this. This is a flaw. Okay, let's go to number 2. Same exercise. Medieval texts have been cherry-picked to promote a view of Ethiopia. Cherry-picked and selective is the same thing. When you cherry-pick something, you selectively pick something. So this is correct. Okay. Medieval texts have been cherry-picked to promote a view of Ethiopia as weak. This is correct. And in need of Europe's military help with aggressive neighbors. This is correct. But recent studies reveal it was a well-connected and outward-looking culture. Is there a flaw in 2? Now, when I say flaw, I mean, is it aligned with the paragraph or not? Whether it is complete or incomplete, that's a different story. Is there a misalignment with the paragraph? Do you notice any flaw? Yes or no? Quickly, folks. Do you see a flaw or not? You saw a flaw in 1. Do you see a flaw in 2? Okay, I'm going to wait for your answer. Ananya says no. What about others? There is no flaw. There's absolutely no flaw. Okay, so we're going to park this. Why are we parking? Because we haven't looked at 3 and 4. You have to pick the best answer. There is no flaw. Sridhar, there is no flaw. Okay, if there is a flaw, let me know. Okay, I won't be able to repeat it in the interest of time, but I can stay back later. Let's go to number 3. Medieval texts have documented how strong connections between the Christian communities of Ethiopia and Europe were invaluable in establishing military and trade links between the two civilizations. Okay, is this correct per the passage? Medieval texts have documented how strong connections between the Christian communities of Ethiopia and Europe were available in establishing military and trade links between the two civilizations. No, right? Medieval texts, that is not the point. And the point here is, look at the point that you're looking at. You're looking at a traditional and modern narrative. The traditional narrative said Ethiopia was weak. Okay, strong connections between Christian communities of Ethiopia and Europe. Where is that coming from? It's coming from nowhere. Okay, so this can't be your answer. All right, let's look at 4. Historians were under the illusion that Ethiopia needed military protection from their neighbors. Were they under the illusion? Were historians under the illusion? Or were they cherry picking? Think about it. There is a difference there. Were they cherry picking or were they under the illusion? They were cherry picking, right? They were selectively choosing facts. The traditional historians were selectively choosing facts. Modern historians took a while to figure it out. And where is that traditional versus modern? That is your main point, right? The main point is traditional versus modern. 4 just says historians and were under the illusion, but they were not under the illusion. They were selectively picking facts. So that's the flaw there. And also it doesn't talk about traditional and modern. Your main point has to talk about this. Traditional, modern, and what was the traditional view? What was the modern view? That is very well given to you in 2. Hence, 2 is the answer. Okay, so 1, 3, and 4 have actually have flaws. They're misaligned with the paragraph, and also 4 misses out on the main point. Okay, 1 has a flaw, generalization. 2 comes out of nowhere. Okay, so hence, 3 comes out of nowhere. So hence the answer is 2. Okay, all right. This is the clue, buried in plain sight. See, some of you are asking me, how do we infer that the traditional historians were selective? If they were buried in plain sight, understand that phrase. If something is buried in plain sight, that means it was very evident. In spite of being evident, if you didn't pick it, that means you were being selective. Think about it. Take some time to think about it. It was buried in plain sight. That means it was very, very evident. Okay, and hence they were being selective or cherry picking. That's how we are inferring it. Okay, all right. 4, Varsha, we just spoke about it. It misses out on the main point. There is no traditional versus modern, and historians were not under the illusion. Okay, all right. Stay back if you want to discuss this further. Let's continue to the second question. All right, go for it, people. I'll run the poll. Don't get what do you call it? Don't let this scare you. I know this talks about quantum mechanics and stuff, right? So if you're not a science student, this might scare you a little bit, but don't let it scare you. Okay, it's not like it goes very deep into quantum mechanics or stuff. So just extract the main points. You should be able to get the answer, and don't let big words scare you. Okay, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. All right. So yeah, I'll close the poll very soon. In the meantime, tell me what is the main idea of this paragraph in chat. Extract the main points for me. I'll end the poll in 10 seconds. And we're done. All right. Now there's a higher majority here. Okay, let's see whether you folks are correct. 64% of you are going with 1. Okay. 22% are going with 2. 7% with 4. And 5% for 3. I was expecting this clash between 1 and 2. Okay. One thing I can straight away tell you, the answer is definitely between 1 and 2, and I'll quickly rule out 3 and 4 for you. But if you got 3 and 4, don't worry about it. Okay. The answer is definitely between 1 and 2. Okay. A lot of you have sent me the main ideas for the paragraph, which is great. That should be your first step, even before looking at the options. Abhijit talks about atomic level in animate. Ritvik says that when we see things at quantum level, it is very different from the reality. Harsh talks about inanimate, quantum physics, and metaphysics. We've achieved a tunnel vision, is what Ariman says. Devesh says different forms of life, like inanimate stones, inanimate forms. We can't explain living and non-living. Okay, all right. Some of you are going specific, some of you are going broader. Let's talk about this. Okay, let's understand this paragraph. All that we think we know about how life hangs together is really some kind of illusion that we have perpetrated on ourselves because of our limited vision. What does the sentence say? Understand it. That the way we perceive life or what we understand about life is actually just some kind of illusion because of our limited vision. It's basically saying we don't understand life. Okay, or our view of life, okay, is an illusion because of our limited vision. We are restricted because of our limited vision, and that's why we don't understand life, is what the sentence is saying. What appear to be inanimate objects such as stones turn out not only to be alive in the same way that we are, but also in many infinitesimal ways to be affected by stimuli just as humans are. Very interesting statement. So it's saying that inanimate objects, what are inanimate objects? Inanimate objects are like chair. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. It says what appears to be inanimate objects such as stones turn out not only to be alive. Okay, so we consider stones, objects like stones, chairs, tables, as to be dead. We don't think they have a life in it. Right? But what the author is saying, what appear to be inanimate objects such as stones turn out not only to be alive in the same way that we are, but also in many infinitesimal ways, small ways, they are affected by stimuli just as humans are. So they react to stimuli the way we react to stimuli. When something touches us, we react. So it says in many small ways, these stones and other objects also react to stimuli. So they're basically alive, is what the author is saying. The distinction between animate and inanimate simply cannot be made when you enter the world of quantum mechanics and try to determine how those apparent subatomic particles of which you and everything else in our universe is composed are all tied together. What does this sentence mean? That in the world of quantum mechanics, there is no distinction between animate and inanimate objects. We make a distinction in our world. But the distinction between animate and inanimate simply cannot be made when you enter the world of quantum economics. So there is our world where we make a distinction. In the world of quantum mechanics, there is no distinction. Correct? Okay. The point is that physics and metaphysics show there is a pattern to the universe that goes beyond our capacity to grasp it with our brains. This is a very general point at the end. Okay. Again, the same thing that the first line says, we don't really understand how the universe functions. We don't really understand life because our vision is very limited. Okay. Now, what are the main points in this paragraph? Now, tell me one thing. This whole talk about animate and inanimate. Okay. In our world, there is a distinction. In quantum mechanics, there is no distinction. In our world, we think that they are not alive. In quantum mechanics, there is no distinction because of the way they are made up of subatomic particles. They are made up of subatomic particles. We are also made up of subatomic particles. My question is this not the main point or one of the main points in the paragraph? Animate versus inanimate. Is this not one of the main points in the paragraph is my question. I hope I'm connected. Is this not one of the main points in the paragraph? It is, right? Okay, let's keep this in mind. Let's now look at the questions or the options rather. Arbitrary distinctions between inanimate and animate objects disappear. Okay, again, break it up and see if there are flaws. Arbitrary is random. Distinctions between inanimate and animate objects disappear at the scale at which quantum mechanics works. Is there a flaw here? There is no flaw here. There is absolutely no flaw. Flaw is simply misalignment. There is no flaw in this option. I'm going to park it. Okay. All right. Quantum physics indicates that an astigmatic view of reality results in erroneous assumptions about the universe. Okay. What is astigmatic view? An astigmatic view is when you're not able to focus. Astigmatism is an eye disease, eye defect, where your eyes are not able to focus on something. So an astigmatic view is all over the place. That's what it means. An astigmatic view of reality results in erroneous assumptions about the universe. Where is the inanimate animate object point here? Isn't this a very broad point that option 2 is making? That an astigmatic view of reality, okay, and the paragraph says limited view of reality. Okay, limited view. Option 2 says astigmatic view. They're not really similar. Astigmatic is where you're not able to focus. Limited is limited, number one. And it says astigmatic view of reality results in erroneous assumptions about the universe. What assumptions? What assumptions? The paragraph, the main point in the paragraph is inanimate, animate. Yes, there is a general point at the end, I agree. But it's based on what? It's based on the arbitrary distinction between inanimate and animate that we make in our world. Where is that point in 2? Okay? Alright. So between 1 and 2, I'll talk about 3 and 4 later, that's not the correct answer. Between 1 and 2, the problem with 2 is, it's very broad. It doesn't talk about inanimate, animate, which is the crux of the paragraph. And also, I don't agree with this astigmatic view. Although that's a minor point. The inanimate, animate object is not there. Now, you may argue that, oh, summary can be broad and all of that because of this last point. I agree. But this whole last point is based on that inanimate, animate. There is no reference to that in 2. So hence we cannot pick 2, we have to go with 1. Now is 1 the perfect answer? No. But it's the best answer. Okay. Now quickly I'm going to rule out 3. Inanimate world is both sentient and cognizant. It's not cognizant. Cognizant is aware. There is nothing. Sentient is correct. Cognizant is not. The effect of stimuli is similar. No, it doesn't say the effect of stimuli is similar. It says we react to stimuli. Inanimate objects also react to stimuli. That's it. It's not similar. The reaction is not similar per the paragraph. It doesn't talk about that. Okay. Hence the answer is 1. All right. Okay. Quickly. We are rejecting only on the basis of astigmatic. No, Devish, we are not. I clearly said that. Hear me out. Astigmatic view is a very minor point. We are rejecting basis based on the fact that it doesn't talk about inanimate and animate, which is the crux of the paragraph. Astigmatic view is a very minor point. The major point it doesn't talk about animate and inanimate, which is why we are rejecting 2. Okay. All right. Let's go to question 3. If there are any questions, I'm happy to stay back. Okay, hit the like button, folks, if you're enjoying this session. Hey, Vasik. Vasik is here. Hi, Vasik. Vasik is also he's also been with us since 2022. Good to see you here, Vasik. We're doing para summary now. We're about to start para completion. So it's a new question type if you want to stay. Okay, 1 more minute remaining. The reason I'm writing it down is it helps me to keep a track of time because of the lag. So 1 more minute. See you later, Vasik. Thanks for dropping in. Ten more seconds. Okay, I'm closing the poll now. Okay, the answers are in front of you. 51% of you, half of you are saying it's 2. Okay, so first choice. 25% are going with 3. That's your second choice. 18% are going with 1. That's your third choice. 3% are going with 4. That's your fourth choice. Okay, Devesh is asking, is it okay to reread passage and para summaries again if in doubt? Yeah, Devesh, in para summaries, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. Sometimes if the para is complicated, you can reread the para. It's fine. In RC, rereading the whole passage is not okay. Okay, in para summaries, if it's a complicated paragraph, it's okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's look at this. First of all, we'll understand the paragraph and create our own summary. Shadow answer. Petitioning is an expeditious democratic tradition used frequently in prior centuries by which citizens can bring issues directly to governments. So it's talking about petitioning. We might not understand what expeditious is. It's fine. Okay. And it explains that through petitioning, citizens can bring issues directly to governments. Okay. As expressions of collective voice, they support procedural democracy by shaping agendas. They can also recruit citizens to causes, give voice to the voteless, and apply the discipline of rhetorical argument that clarifies a point of view. So till now it is talking about petitioning. Okay, and petitioning here, the first part of the paragraph is talks about petitioning, and understand the author has a positive view about petitioning, isn't it? Clearly positive. The author explains what petitioning is, says as expressions of collective voice, they support procedural democracy. They can also recruit citizens to causes, give voice to the voteless, apply the discipline. So it's all positive, petitioning. Okay. Now, by contrast, elections are limited in several respects. So it's comparing petitioning to elections. Elections are limited. They involve only a few candidates and thus fall far short of a representative democracy. Further, voters' choices are not specific to particular policies or laws. Elections are episodic, whereas the voice of the people needs to be heard and integrated constantly into democratic government. So here the author is clearly talking about petitions, positive, elections, negative. The author has a negative view about it. The author says there are limitations to elections, or you can say the author says petitioning has advantages, has pros, elections have limitations. Okay, and and elections are limited because they are episodic, they are not representative democracy, voters' choices are not specific to particular policies or laws, so on and so forth. Okay, so it's giving you petitioning and it's giving you elections both, right? It's the author has a positive view of petitions and not so positive view of elections because the author thinks there are limitations in elections. Correct? Is that correct? Now please listen to me carefully. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now we'll have to look at the options. But is this summary clear? Tell me in chat. Okay, you can tell me in chat. I'm going to start reading one. Okay. Break up the option and look for flaws. All right. This was a third choice. Petitioning has been important to democratic functioning. Is there a flaw here? No. As it supplements the electoral process by enabling ongoing engagement with the government. Is there a flaw in part B? Tell me. I'm going to wait for your answer here. Is there a flaw? And if you're telling me there is a flaw, I want to know what that flaw is. Okay, some of you are saying no flaw, some of you are saying there is a flaw. Okay, I'm guessing the people who are saying that there is a flaw, correct, is the supplement word, right? Is there any indication in the paragraph that says that petitioning supplements the electoral process? Tell me, read the paragraph again. Does the paragraph talk about petitioning supplementing the electoral process? Are you sure that there is no mention of supplement? I want you to reread the paragraph. I'm not saying there is, but tell me. Reread the paragraph very again. Okay. So you're saying petitioning and elections are discussed separately. It's not supporting. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. That's fine. That's fine. Let's go to two. Let's park this. Okay. Let's go to two. Now understand this. Petitioning is definitely more representative of the collective voice. And the functioning of democratic government could improve if we relied more on petitioning rather than holding periodic elections. Does the paragraph say it is definitely more representative of the collective voice and we should rely more on petitioning rather than holding periodic elections? Aha, interesting. Now I'm seeing answers about one. Now look at what Shri and Sridhar are saying. Support procedural democracy. What does this mean, folks? I'm going back to one, sorry. They support procedural democracy. What is procedural democracy? Procedural democracy is elections. Okay? It is. Procedural democracy is elections. So we cannot say there is no mention of supplements. There is mention of supplements. But my question to you is, in 2, is 2 correct? That's your first choice. Is it saying that it would improve if we relied more on petitioning rather than holding periodic elections? Is it telling you to replace elections with petitioning? It's not. It's not. Although it appears like that. And you folks don't beat yourself up about this. It's a tricky one. It appears from the paragraph that the author is saying replace elections with petitions. But no, that's not what the author is saying, because it says they support procedural democracy. Okay, so the author is not saying replace elections with petitions. The author is actually saying it supplements the electoral process, and the key is here. It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. It's very easy to miss that. But also you can rule out 2 because of 2 is too certain. There is a difference in tone. 2 says petitioning is definitely more representative and it should rely more on petitioning. The paragraph doesn't say that. So 2 is stretching the paragraph. In 1, you might have an issue with supplements, but supplements has evidence there in the paragraph. Okay, so 2 is gone. All right. By giving citizens greater control over shaping political and democratic agendas, political petitions are invaluable as they represent an ideal form of a representative. Does it say it's an ideal form? No, it doesn't say ideal form. It's exaggerating. Citizens become less inclined to petitioning as it enables. No, this is completely opposite. The author has a positive view of petitioning. This is not the answer. So we're ruling out 3, 4 and 2 as well. The answer is 1. And the key is this. Okay, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. A lot of people got this wrong in the test. They went with 2. But you also have to understand, even if you ignore that procedural democracy, it doesn't say that petitioning should replace elections. It doesn't say that. You can't infer that. Okay, all right, let's move on. If you have questions, stay back. All right, now we'll go to most interesting part of the session. So I'm glad folks who are staying back, you'll enjoy this. We'll go to the surprise element of CAT 22. Now, what was the surprise element? Am I still online? I always worry. Okay. The surprise element of CAT 22 was para completion, isn't it? Okay, I was very disappointed, by the way. I used to love odd one out. They threw odd one out. Now, odd one out, you have to understand one thing. There's a 1 in 5 chance of getting it correct. I mean, there was no negative marking, right? There were 5 choices. You had to put in a number. 1 in 5 chance of getting it correct without a risk of negative marking. No wonder they removed it. Okay, but doesn't mean they won't bring it back. They can bring it back as well. Okay, am I still connected? Can I get some feedback on chat, please? I am connected, right? I'm sure. Para completion. There you go. I got some feedback. Thank you. So they removed it, right? They can bring it back, by the way. So you have to practice odd one out as well. Now in para completion, what you have to do is first you try the question out. Then I'll give you the strategy. Okay. All right. Read the instructions carefully. Solve the question. I'll run the poll. This is the instruction. This is the sentence. And this sentence you have to fit in this paragraph. Now, either the sentence will fit in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Depending on that, you have to choose the right answer. Take your time. I'll explain the strategy later once we talk about it. Oh, thank you for confirming that I'm corrected. I always worry. Somebody was asking me what is the ideal time for para summary. Okay. Now see, ideal time in the exam. Okay, not now. Now in the prep phase, you should focus on accuracy. But I'll tell you in the exam, typically, and again, this differs from person to person, folks. Remember this, okay? I'm giving you the average time, but some people will take more time, some people will take lesser time. But I think if you can solve a verbal ability question in 2.5 minutes, okay, any verbal ability question, whether it's para jumble, para completion, or para summary, right? Especially para summary and para jumble, if you can solve it in 2.5 minutes, it's good. If you can solve it in 2 minutes, fantastic. Some questions you'll be able to solve it in less than 2 minutes, but on an average, it will be between 2 to 2.5 minutes on an average. Okay, so that's the time. Of course, the more you practice, you can solve it under 2 minutes as well, which is great. But on an average, it will be between 2 to 2.5 minutes. Para jumble takes 2.5 minutes because of step 3. If you're doing step 3 and doing a verses, that'll take additional 15-20 seconds. So it can go up to that 2.5 minute range. Para summary, around 2 minutes. So that is the benchmark. You're welcome, Harsh. I think it was your question. Folks, stay back after the session, okay? If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to stay back and discuss. I love discussing these questions, but just in the interest of time, I have to move on. You can always put in a comment in the YouTube video. I'm very active there also. I will respond, so no problem. hit the like button if you haven't already. And again, just a quick reminder, we do this every Friday, okay, from 8 to 10. We've done slot 1 CAT 22 already. Today slot 1 will get complete. Now next week we'll start with slot 2 RC, 2 RCs, then 2 RCs, then verbal ability, then slot 3. So in about 6 more weeks, yeah, 6 more weeks, this series will complete. Already we are on week 3. Yeah, so 9 weeks for the total series. Damn it, I gave you the answer. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that. I hope you blinked and didn't see. I forgot to put those transitions. Animation, rather. Act as if you didn't see the answer. Okay, 1 more minute, folks. Just we'll end it. Yes, that's a great message from Pranav from our team. Let us know what you want us to cover. That's a very good point. Folks, see our YouTube channel, Sridhar saying I actually blinked. Folks, on YouTube channel, we're very, very responsive, especially Pranav and his team. Pranav heads the YouTube team, by the way, in our organization. Very, very responsive to your suggestions, right? Let us know what you want us to cover. If there are any specific topics in VRC, quant, DLR, or anything general that you want to know about CAT and MBA, let us know in the comment section. We'll definitely look into it. Okay. All right, folks, I'm going to end the poll in 10 seconds. Yeah, Suraj saw the answer. Suraj, by the way, are you the offline student from Chennai? I'm sorry, I might be confusing it, but are you the student I met in Chennai during the offline classes? Let me know, okay? Or maybe you're a different Suraj. I'm not sure. Okay, folks, I'm ending the poll. DLR sessions, please. Great. Amrit. So Pranav will make a note of this. DLR will come up. I think Pranav can let you know in chat. I think it's definitely planned. It will come up. Anything else, let us know. Okay. So I'm ending the poll now. Okay, so before we go into, so DLR, Pranav is noting it down, I'm sure. DLR, LR, quant algebra. Okay, great, noted. Unfortunately, no, I go to Ananagar. Okay, so Suraj, no, I met, then I met another Suraj in Gopalapuram. For me, I always confuse between different 2 options and somehow select the one always. Okay, Devesh, remind me about this at the end of the session. I'll help you out. LR ratios, higher level questions. Okay, great. There you go. Pranav has made a note of it. Okay, keep your suggestions coming. All right, let's look at this. This was a new question time. Now, one thing I'll tell you, folks, hear this out. Last year, after a very long time, CAT changed its format in VRC. Suddenly, this happened, right? So what happened was slot 1 people, because slot 2 and slot 3 knew that para completion was going to come. So we were prepared. I was in slot 3. Excuse me. Slot 1 panicked, and understandably so. They saw the para completion question. They were like, okay, what is this? Yeah, in that time, you're scrambling, right? So they saw a new question type, and a lot of them panicked and left this question. Now, what you'll realize that this question is actually not very difficult. So hear me out. If in 23 they introduce a new question type in VRC, chances are the complexity level will be lower. Okay, to compensate for that, they might reduce the complexity level. So what I'm saying is, don't run away from these questions. Give them some time. You might be able to solve it. Okay. All right. Lots of suggestions there. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Let's keep giving us suggestions. I'll answer this question. There's a sentence that is missing in the paragraph below. Look at the paragraph and decide in which blank, option 1, 2, 3, or 4, the following sentence would best fit. Now, in this, the strategy is first you have to read the sentence and understand it, obviously. Having made citizens more and less knowledgeable than their predecessors, the internet has proved to be both a blessing and a curse. What is the sentence talking about? That internet is both a blessing and curse. Why? Because they have made citizens more and less knowledgeable than their predecessors. So it's mixed. It's both a blessing and a curse because it has made them more and less knowledgeable. Does this seem like a starter statement or a concluding statement to you? I'm not saying it is, but I'm just asking. The way the statement is, does it seem like a starter or a concluding statement to you? See, it could be a starter statement, right? Saying internet is both a blessing and a curse, and then the paragraph can talk about how it is both a blessing and a curse. Or it can be a concluding statement where in the preceding statement it has spoken about how it is both a blessing and curse, and then concludes it by saying it's both a blessing and curse. It can go both ways, right? It can be a starter statement also. Think about it. Open up your minds a little bit. It can be a starter statement also. Saying, I can start by saying, oh, both blessing and curse, and then support it. Or give the supporting reasons first and then give the conclusion. Now, starter statement though it can't be because there is no 1 year. Right? There is no option. So starter statement it can't. Okay? Can it be a concluding statement? Potentially. Let's look at it. Okay? Alright, so keep that in mind. Now, let's read the paragraph. Never before has a population, nearly all of whom has enjoyed at least a secondary school education, been exposed to so much information, whether in newspapers and magazines or through YouTube, Google and Facebook. Okay. Yet, it is not clear that people today are more knowledgeable than their barely literate predecessors. Now read this. Is there a need for putting anything here? Or does it flow seamlessly? There is no need to put anything in one. These two sentences flow very seamlessly. There is no need to put anything in one. Right? Okay. Yet it is not clear that people today are more knowledgeable than their barely literate predecessors. Contemporary advances in technology offered more serious and inquisitive students access to realms of knowledge previously unimaginable and unavailable. So this is positive. Positive about advances of technology or internet. But such readily available knowledge leads many more students away from serious study, the reading of actual tests, and toward an inability to write effectively and grammatically. Do you need anything here? No. Because this talks about positive, this talks about negative. It flows seamlessly. Okay. And toward an inability to write effectively and grammatically. It has led people choose sources that reinforce their opinions rather than encouraging them to question inherited beliefs. This is also negative. So this is -1, this is -2. Do you need anything here? No. So first it gives you the positive, then it gives you -1 and -2, and finally it closes by saying that it's both a blessing and curse. So the answer is option 4. Are you with me? Now, I'll tell you what the strategy to solve this question is. Okay. First, you understand the sentence. Then you review the paragraph. If the sentences are flowing very well with each other, then you don't need to squeeze something in between. Like the way we saw here. Okay. And then when you choose your correct answer, like let's say I've chosen option 4, look at the preceding statement. Look at here there was no succeeding statement because it was a concluding statement. But before choosing your correct answer, look very carefully at the preceding and at the succeeding. It should flow with the insert that you do. And if it flows, then it's great. And this is a concluding statement. It either sounds like an introductory statement or a concluding statement that wraps up everything. We don't have a starter option, so we had to go with concluding. So that's also something you can keep in mind. All right, great. Let's go to question 2. Yes, Devesh, it's concluding the overall context of the para. Correct. Great. Lots of suggestions from you folks. Very good. Yeah, full marks live. We will definitely do full marks. I mean, not we, Rajesh will do it. Okay. I don't have the, honestly, I don't think anybody in the industry has guts to do it except Rajesh. Right. So Rajesh will do it for sure. He has the courage to do it. So I think he'll do it somewhere in October, November. Okay. Yeah. So that will happen. You can also check out the previous one. If Pranav gets a chance, he will send it to you. The previous mock attempts. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. I'm back. Okay, let's discuss this. Okay, the poll is still on. I'll end the poll now. Yeah, I wonder if this is a problem with my internet provider or my router. Most likely, it's probably a router problem. Maybe a techie can help me out on chat. I think it's a router problem, right? The fact that I have to restart the router in between. Okay, I'm ending the poll. All right. Now this is a trickier one. Okay, this is a trickier one than the last one. The last one was actually manageable. I hope you will agree with me. But here you're okay. So you're saying 43% have gone with 4. Okay, that's your first choice. 31% has gone with 2. 21% has gone with 3, and 2% has gone with 4. Oh, sorry, 1. 1. Okay. All right. Let's look at this. So it's 4, 2, 3, 1. Yeah. Okay. Let's read the sentence. Easing the anxiety and pressure of having a big day is part of the appeal for many couples who marry in secret. Okay, so couples are marrying in secret. Try to understand the sentence. And they're marrying in secret because they want to ease the anxiety and pressure of having a big day. Right? So it's about marriage, marrying in secret and stuff like that. Now let's read the paragraph. Wedding season is upon us. And after 2 years of COVID chaos that saw nuptials scaled back, you may think the temptation would be to go all out. Understand this. COVID obviously restricted weddings, right? So the author is saying that wedding season is upon us, and after 2 years of COVID, you may think that people would be tempted to go all out with their weddings. Isn't it? Okay. Now let's read the next sentence. But instead of expanding the guest list, many couples are opting to have entirely secret ceremonies. Do you need anything here? No, right? That but flows very seamlessly. The temptation would be to go all out, but instead of going all out, many couples are opting to have entirely secret ceremonies. You don't need anything here. You don't need anything here. Don't fit in anything. Don't force fit it. Okay, let's continue. With COVID case numbers remaining high and the cost of living crisis meaning that many couples are feeling. Sorry, I'm going to repeat it. With COVID case numbers remaining high and the cost of living crisis meaning that many couples are feeling the pinch, it's no wonder that some are less than eager to send out invites. So now this sentence explains the reason why couples are still opting to have entirely secret ceremonies in spite of COVID coming down. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Okay. So here it says, no wonder that some are less than eager to send out invites. Plus, it can't hurt that in celebrity circles, getting married in secret is all the rage. Does it flow seamlessly? So it's saying that couples are feeling the pinch because of COVID cases remaining high and the cost of living crisis. And it's no wonder that some are less than eager to send out invites. And it says, plus it can't hurt that in celebrity circles, getting married in secret is all the rage. Plus what? This is giving you another reason, right? Do you think we can fit in this sentence here? Do you think it goes in two? Read it and see. Read the preceding sentence, read the next sentence, and see if that sentence can be fit here. See, this is giving you a reason why couples are less than eager to send out invites. Isn't this adding to it? Easing the anxiety and pressure of having a big day is part of the appeal for many couples who marry in secret. Plus, it can't hurt that in celebrity circles, getting married in secret is all the rage. Now look at it. Secret here and secret here. That plus fits, if you fit the sentence in two, that plus makes perfect sense because of that secret. Focus on that, folks. Easing the anxiety and pressure of having a big day is part of the appeal for many couples who marry in secret. Okay? Plus, it can't hurt that in celebrity circles, getting married in secret is all the rage. Doesn't it flow seamlessly the moment you put in two? Secret, focus on that. Okay? Let's park it. Okay. I would definitely say that secret weddings are becoming more common, says Landis Bejar, the founder of a therapy practice which specializes in helping brides and grooms manage wedding stress. You don't really need anything here. People are looking for ways to get out of the spotlight and avoid the pomp and circumstance of weddings. They just want to get to the part where they are married. So now if you look at it holistically, it fits much better in two than in any other option. I know option 4 is your first choice, but if you compare it with 2, you will see it fits into much better. And that secret is the much better side. It isn't making sense flow-wise or English-wise to me still. Okay, Devesh, you probably need to spend more time with the question. Okay, the secret part is the giveaway there. Definitely the giveaway. It's a tricky question, but it gives it away. Okay, and that's why 2 is the answer here. Okay, all right, folks, fantastic. So, folks, hit the like button before going. I hope you enjoyed this session. As I said, we do this every Friday from 8 to 10. Next time, we will do slot 2, CAT 22, 2 RCs. And for RCs, whenever there's an RC session, you have to read the passages in advance and then come to class. Okay, so just read the passages. I'll give you limited time in the class to read passages, but read the passages, come prepared, and then we'll solve the questions together. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Subscribe to our channel, don't forget. And yeah, of course, if you're considering our courses, if you're interested, you can call us up. Pranav can send you the number. You can call us up, get all the information that you want. You want to get general information about CAT and MBA in general, call us up. Okay, doesn't have to be course specific. What else is there? You can email us at info@2am.com as well. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Now let's look at this. I'm going to go in the reverse order. Devesh is saying, Shri, doesn't the same logic apply to 3 as well? Anish, is there any way where we can communicate to you via voice? Anish, write an email to info@2am.com. Okay. Just email info@2am.com. Okay. We'll try to accommodate it. I can't promise it, but we'll try and accommodate it. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Same flow-wise, I feel it would suit 4 better. Okay. Let's look at this. Let's look at the flow. Okay. Okay. Let's discuss this question first. Stay back if you want to discuss the question in detail. Okay. So you're saying 4 is better. People are looking for ways to get out of the spotlight and avoid the pomp and circumstance of weddings. Easing the anxiety and pressure of having a big day is part of the appeal for many couples who marry in secret. Okay? They just want to get to the part where they are married. People are looking for ways to get out of the spotlight and avoid the pomp and circumstance of weddings. Okay? Avoid the pomp and circumstance of weddings. They just want to get to the part where they are married. Now, okay, now this is what I'm going to say to you folks. Okay, please try and understand. I get your point. Okay, but look at this. People are looking for ways to get out of the spotlight and avoid the pomp and circumstance of weddings. They want to avoid the jhamela of weddings, is what it's saying. Jhamela in Hindi means like all the, like, how weddings are, especially Indian weddings. There's too much happening. So they want to avoid the frills and all this Jhamela of weddings. And it says they just want to get to the part where they're married. So why do you need anything here? Is my question. Doesn't it seamlessly flow? They want to avoid the pomp and circumstance of weddings. They want to avoid the chaos. And they just want to get to the part where they're married. So why do you want to fit anything here is my question. Okay. Now, thank you very much for the great feedback. Thank you, Pratik. Sankara, thank you. Thank you. It really means a lot. I'm glad you found it useful. So this is why don't try to force fit it. Okay. What about 3? Plus, it can't hurt that in celebrity circles, getting married in secret is all the rage. Okay. I would definitely say that secret weddings are becoming more common. Okay. Plus, it can't hurt that in celebrity circles, getting married in secret is all the rage. Easing the anxiety and pressure of having a big day is part of the appeal for men. Okay, now, look at this. Shri, here it is talking about celebrity circles. Then it talks about easing the anxiety of having a big day for normal couples. Doesn't really fit here, right? No, Devesh, 4 doesn't make sense. I've just explained it. Okay, 4 doesn't need anything there. Okay, it doesn't really need a sentence. Okay, and 3 has a problem. Preceding it talks about celebrity. Then it goes back to normal couples. Putting in the sentence there will be an issue. Okay, and again I'm going back to 2, folks. Look at that secret part. It should make sense. Okay, all right. So spend more time on this question. Hopefully you'll get it, and if not, put in a comment on the YouTube video and I'll get back to you. Okay, all right. Which other question do you want me to discuss? Give me in chat. I'll stay back for 10-15 minutes. Anybody? Anything that you want to discuss? Parajumble's question 1. You want me to discuss LR? LR I can't discuss. Okay, LR I'm not an LR faculty. You know more about LR, DLR and quant than me. Okay, so I'm a VRC faculty. So LR, of course, hopefully we'll have another session, separate session. The LR faculty can come. Raghu or Bhaskar or Rajesh can talk about it. Yeah, so Pranav has noted all of the suggestions, so we'll get back to you. Okay, anything else, folks? Let me know. Anything that you want to discuss from this deck, from this presentation? Yep, upon reading the once again, 2 definitely seems like a better option than 4. Fantastic. Okay, great. Sridhar, yeah, that's what sometimes you just have to spend time with the question, right? And the second one is a little tricky. Okay, the first one is manageable. Second one's a little tricky. All right. Okay, fantastic. Looks like there are no more questions, so we can call it a day. I'll wait for another minute. Okay, otherwise you can always let me know in comments. Okay, I'm happy to get back to you in comments as well. Okay, Naveen is saying a suggestion: can the test series have sections like arithmetic, geometry instead of topics alone? Okay, Naveen, if you're a student, I think you're a student, right? Our student, write an email to info@2m.com or message on the group. Let's talk. Okay. Okay, fantastic. All right, folks, thanks for being very interactive. I will see you next Friday. Okay, at 8 p.m. We'll do slot 2 RCs. Please read the RCs in advance and down. Okay, I always stumble upon 2 options, always select the wrong one out of it. Great. So see, there is a video. Hold on 1 second. Okay, that I'll also send that to you. Devesh, that's a very common issue, by the way. But Rajesh had an excellent video about it. My camera has decided to give up on me in the last minute. One second, okay. Okay. What is happening here? One second, I'm trying to. Okay. There you go. Fantastic. So Devesh, just have a look at this, okay? Yeah, this will help you, Devesh. Okay, have a look at this. And if it's not clear, put in a comment and I'll get back to you. But this should be clear. It's a great video where he explains about that, okay? I have doubt regarding summary part about Ethiopia and Europe question. Okay, all right, Riaz, let's look at it quickly. Okay, what is your doubt? Can you please share what we're discussing next week? It will be up on a YouTube channel. We'll discuss 2 RCs from slot 2. So we'll put it up very soon, okay? And then you can go through it. Riaz, what is your doubt about this? See, okay, let me quickly explain this till Riaz types. See, folks, here it's important to choose an option which gives you the difference between what the traditional narrative was and what the modern narrative is. That part needs to come out. So that's why if you look at this, medieval texts have been cherry-picked to promote a view of Ethiopia as weak and in need of Europe's military help with aggressive neighbors. This is the traditional view. But recent studies reveal it was a well-connected and outward-looking culture. This is the modern view. Okay, so that part needs to come out. That's very crucial. But second option says medieval texts promote Ethiopia as weak. Yeah, in the traditional view is weak, right, Riaz? Traditional narrative stressed Ethiopia as weak. That's where it's coming from. Okay. So it is correct for the passage. There's no flaw. And that part needs to come out. Now the problem here is in one that part comes out, the comparison, but it generalizes. It's not about African civilizations. It's about Ethiopia in specific. So that's why one is out. In 4, it says historians were under the illusion that Ethiopia needed military protection from the neighbors, but in fact that country had close commercial and religious connections with them. It doesn't clearly give you clearly between modern and traditional. And also this illusion part, I don't agree with it. Okay. All right. For the medieval question, I want to know how would you deduce the difference between traditional and cherry-picked, as cherry-picked is like picking one out of the lot very carefully. No, cherry-picked is not picking one out of the lot very carefully. Cherry-picked is selectively picking stuff. Okay, so when you want to be selective, let's say, you're doing an analysis and the data is actually giving you a different story, but you want another story. So you can selectively pick the data. So that is cherry picking. Cherry picking has a negative connotation. It has a negative connotation. So what it's saying is that it was buried in plain sight. That means it was very evident. But still, the historians didn't look at it. They cherry picked to promote a view. So negative connotation there. But then recent research changed that. So that's where it's coming from. So it's called negative connotation. Okay. All right. Look up the dictionary meaning. It's definitely got a negative connotation. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome, Suraj. Great. Hope to see you in Annanagar. I'll be there in July in Chennai. So hope to see you there. Okay. Awesome, folks. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next week. Okay. Awesome. Goodbye.